want to break down the different aspects of what it means to present well so that you can give yourself the tools and awareness of the tools. And we're going to start with the 6 components that are essential, and then I'll break them down later on into their individual subcomponents so that you can examine each one. When it comes to actually presenting, whether it's business or art or some kind of talk to people, teaching, explaining, lecturing, discussing, every time you actually employ your awareness of what it is that you're wanting to speak about, you ought to be able to run through this checklist, and it's not like you need to pick it apart every time you do something at the dinner table in conversation with people. It's not like that. However, there is a certain understanding that the more you practice these, the more you parse the individual aspects and examine them well enough, the better you get at it. It's true. That's a no-brainer. Should be a no-brainer. The more you practice these, the more you're aware of it, the better you get at it, the easier it is to internalize it, the easier it is to actually in real time understand where you are and take your individual temperature of the component that you want to address while you're doing it. That's what everybody does in sports, athletics, whatever it is, while they're actually running through things during competition, during a tournament, or during warm-ups and exercises in practice. You're always examining, where am I with this one aspect or that other aspect, so that you can locate what it is that you need to focus on and improve at any given time. It's what I refer to as live editing. Okay, let's get into it. The first is the truth of what you're saying, and this is an empirical thing. This is your objective understanding of what it is that you're doing, without removing your emotional investment in trying to make it good. You can't objectively examine the concepts for what they are. You need to be able to do that. Now, some people are very objective, and they're good at that. Terrific. However, there needs to be a balance, you see. You need to balance the objective sense of the empirical nature of the subject matter and the aspects that you're using to be able to explain something. And you're also needing to bring the emotional investment. That's the subjectivity. Without the emotional investment, the objectivity will just kind of be overly clinical and dry. Without the objectivity, the subjectivity will always be overly emotional and often come off as too much, too drippy, sanguine, saccharine, whatever you want to call it that way. It gets too heated. So you need both. And the first one is that objectivity of the truth of what you're saying. The second and the third are subjectivity. The first of the two subjectivities is an inwardly directed understanding of you. You take the temperature of who you are doing what you're doing. So I, for example, am right here, and I know that I need to be able to demonstrate the work, the ideas, these very concepts. So I am aware of myself, a self-awareness, while doing it in real time. And I have to be subjectively capable of examining what it is that I am doing in order to be able to bring it. That is my focus for the inwardly directed subjectivity. But number 3, the third pillar, the third component, there is the outwardly directed subjectivity, which is how it comes across not to me, but how my stuff comes across to you or to the other. That is an essential. Now, maybe this is getting a little too clinical or technical or whatever it is and boring you to tears, but bear with me here. Understand that there is an emotionally invested self that is paying attention to me and how I am comporting myself, and also to me and how someone else is taking in what it is I'm doing. Without both of those, it's going to be lost. If I am simply doing something, and you've seen this before, if I'm simply doing something for the benefit of myself, me and me alone, it will come off as masturbation. It's just a solipsistic navel-gazing action. But without taking the temperature of how it falls with other people, it will only ever remain a selfish exercise. So I am giving to you, and I want to make sure that the stuff comes across to you. That's where we add that second component. Okay, good. Those are the three. Then the next one is the storytelling. Storytelling needs to actually weave a story, weave tales in so that it makes enough sense, so that what I'm talking about, what you're talking about, actually lands with other people in ways, and you have to enjoy your ability to weave a story into your explanations. It's an analogy. It's a story. Storytelling. Yes. Okay, good. The third one of these is sales. You have to sell it to a certain extent. And I'm not talking about trying to convince other people. I'm talking about being comfortable with the idea that this stuff needs to actually get there. It needs to go all the way through, from me, through the camera, to the recorded, implementation that sends it out on the interwebs and ends up on your screen. This stuff needs to have the entire experience, and I want to actually casually and comfortably be able to explain stuff passionately. In business, it may be an actual sales conversation, but in performance, it may be salesy because I have to believe in what I'm doing and talking about in order to have it be disarmingly welcomed by the other person. That's really important here. The sales part of the activity in the presentation needs to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable with it, it will come off as desperate, cloying, manipulative, strategic, trying too hard. Desperate. Nobody wants to witness someone overly desperate. Think for a moment of any time you've seen someone try to, go home with you from a bar or whatever it is, and when it reeks of too much desperation, you look at it and think, ugh. So, there's that. And the last one of these is the influence, the inspiration. You can motivate people. You can. You deserve to. Other people deserve to be motivated by the things that you care about, that you know can actually move mountains in their lives. And you need to actually be able to bring it in ways that influence. So that's the other quality. It's an esoteric quality, but it's a quality nonetheless. These are the 6 prime components. When we go into details in each of the subcomponents under each of these 6, you will end up seeing how you can examine, take the temperature, and locate what it is you need to actually be working on. And with continued practice, you will move toward becoming a badass at this stuff. There's nothing that is beyond perfecting and improving and being able to deliver well. You can. You just have to understand that it all stems from self-awareness and being able to examine and investigate who you are, what you're doing, and why you're saying it. Okay, that's it, and that's all for now. See ya.